Good evening, I'm Reed Cowan coming to you live from the neighborhood in Las Vegas that has commanded national and indeed international attention after that road rage incident left Tammy Myers with a bullet in the head in the driveway right here behind me. Well, good evening, I'm Reed Cowan coming to you live from the neighborhood in Las Vegas that has commanded national and indeed international attention after that road rage incident left Tammy Myers with a bullet in the head in the driveway right here behind me. Well, it has been a very big day for law enforcement, a very big day for media, telling the story of how a suspect has been caught. News 3 with an entire team spread out for several blocks and team coverage. And Marie Mortera is with me now. Marie, what a day it's been. Certainly so, Reed. You in the field, I'm here in the newsroom. And of course, these stunning revelations from the husband of Tammy Myers, all unfolding live while we anchor the 3 o'clock news. The biggest one here, Myers apparently knew the man police say shot this mother of 4. That man now identified as Eric Nosh. That revelation alone has to dominate the conversation. Where you stand tonight, Reed? Yes, it does. And in fact, let's go ahead to a photograph provided by Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. This photograph of Eric Nosh, young, shirtless, in handcuffs. This image provided by police to us in the moments before Nosh left this neighborhood and headed for jail. All right, so let's back up a little bit. In the hours after that shooting, Metro Police, of course, as we've been telling you for days, they had a manhunt on their hands, an army of police looking for that shooter. The public did not know until just tonight that members of the Myers family knew Nosh, that there was some sort of a connection there. Well, Metro Police held a news conference just a little while ago, and they gave us a little glimpse into their process, into this manhunt, told us what they could tell us at least up to this point. Let's take a listen.
The real takeaway here is that the suspect involved in the killing of Mrs. Myers is in custody and off the streets. Any investigation, we have multiple people to interview and facts to analyze, so initial information is not always accurate, and that's why you have to complete a thorough investigation, interview multiple people, and compare notes and results of those interviews.
All right, so that is what we heard from police, but just to punctuate how shocking all of this information is, look at how close Nosh and Myers lived together. In fact, Nosh lived with his family 1 street over from where Tammy Myers took that bullet to the head, and just a stone's throw away from the middle school where reportedly Myers had her first run-in with Nosh. All right, so big question tonight, who is this kid, Eric Nosh? Well, we've been able to go to social media and find some images that are attributed to being his, Facebook and Instagram photos, a wealth of photos out there, and these images would communicate marijuana. These images would communicate Nosh holding piles of money in some of the photos, and really we're starting to get a sense, at least visually, of who he is. All right, so tonight, that is where we find Kelsey Thomas. She is outside the home, literally just a stone's throw away, just 1 street over. And Kelsey Thomas is going to be talking to us in a second. But first, we have a development that's happening within a couple of blocks of here. And John Traynor is where a suspect at least was seen on a curb with handcuffs. And he will be able to flesh out whether actually this has anybody directly connected to this case. John, what can you tell us?
Right, Reed, a complicated story seems to be getting even more complicated. I'm just about 2 blocks from where you're standing right now. Let me give you an idea of what's happening here. Police investigation behind me, right across the street. You might be able to hear it. We have middle school football practice. That is the middle school. And as you mentioned, a source telling us today that is where the first shots in this road rage incident were fired, close to the middle school, not close to Tammy. So what is this? As you mentioned, there is a suspect being questioned by police. It is connected and not connected at the same time to this road rage incident. Let me explain. Earlier today, at that arrest by Nosh's house, there was an incident where a young man got into a fight with an older gentleman verbally. Just about 3 hours ago, that same young man allegedly pulled a gun out at the old man near where I'm standing right here. That is what the questioning is about. But this is connected because of this. That young man now claims he's not only friends with Eric Notch, he is in a gang with him called Alta Block. So this whole thing might be gang connected. That is what the gang unit here is trying to figure out. They say it's too early to tell us any details yet. Yet being the key word. Here's Lieutenant Bobby Smith earlier today.
I would be so premature into saying that, but we all know, where there's smoke, there's fire. We in policing, we have a tendency to try to connect dots whenever we can. So yes, it could, but then again, I could be completely wrong.
All right, we're talking to young people who are in the area. Again, there's middle school football practice about 20 yards in front of me. These young kids that we talked to say they knew Eric. They didn't think Eric had any gang affiliation. They were shocked to hear Eric Notch was even arrested here. They don't know the kid who's in the car as well. This is a developing story, again, flipping on its head, developing as the minutes go on. And police told us earlier in that press conference that I was at that we do not know the whole full story yet, and things will become clear once a second suspect is under arrest. Reed?
All right, John, stay with me here for just a second. I have a question. This young man that you saw on the curb, caught and cuffed, is there any thought that he was in the car? Because we have been reporting for several days now that Notch was not alone in that evening gun battle.
Right, we believe there's 3 or 4 people in total, including Eric, in that car. We're told this not directly related right now. They don't believe this young man is related to that road rage incident. If there's a connection, it might be through some sort of gang called Alta Block, or at least a friendship affiliation. So not only will they question him about this gun incident, but they'll question him about that road rage incident. And you mentioned there was a manhunt earlier this week. There's still a manhunt going on. Police are still wanting to find a suspect, potentially that suspect that they had told us was 6 feet tall, 25 to 30 years old, which Eric Notch is definitely not. Reed?
Well, and John, it's understandable. You come to this neighborhood, it's a very nice neighborhood, and it's hard to believe that just a few days ago bullets were flying in literally a gunfight. Okay, so you heard John Trainer right there talk about how police and the Myers family both have told the media today that there are more revelations to come, that the community does not know everything, and that soon we will. Kelsey Thomas joins us live. She's literally a street over from where I am. And Kelsey, the big question that I have about Mr. Notch is this. What kind of affiliation did he have with the Myers family? And is it true that it wasn't until after the arrest that the Myers family told police that, yes, they knew Notch?
Well, that's what police are saying, but it's unclear tonight if they were purposely withholding that information from police, or perhaps they were withholding that information because they did not want to spook Eric Notch. He was arrested right here behind me in this home. As you can see, the cops are out here tonight. They are stationed outside Notch's house, keeping a watchful eye. No one right now is answering the door. It is dark outside. We are told Notch's mother is inside. But you can just imagine the range of emotions going on. The events over the past 6 days have really rocked this neighborhood. First, you have a mother who is gunned down. Then they come to learn today that the suspect actually lives in their neighborhood. Now police on a manhunt for another suspect. All of this happening right here in this quiet southwest neighborhood. Of course, the school right around the corner, that park where apparently Tammy Myers had contact with Eric Notch. But of course, the biggest twist today, that the Myers family knew Notch.
You know this boy? I couldn't tell you this before. He knew where I lived. We knew how bad he was, but we didn't know he was this bad, that he's gotten to this point, and his friends. But this kid, the animal my wife was going to search, my wife spent countless hours at that park consoling this boy. There's a lot of victims here. It wasn't just my wife. It's my whole family that are torn up. And the thousands, I'm not talking tens, hundreds, the thousands of friends we have.
And of course, Robert Myers says his #1 goal right now is to protect his family. He said one of his sons, the gunman who actually came out of the home with a gun and got into the car with Tammy Myers, is getting death threats from the community. So that is his focus right now. Of course, also finding this other suspect that now police are on a manhunt for. Reporting live, Kelsey Thomas, News 3.
All right, so Kelsey, it's clear that there are so many more questions to this story, and like we say, there's likely more discovery throughout the night. And just to show you how quickly news changes, bringing Marie back into the conversation, you know, first we hear that Nosh had been arrested, Marie. Then the news conference with Mr. Myers, who lost his wife on Valentine's Day, of all days to lose your spouse. And then, of course, just after that, we hear of another arrest, and the big question, what, if anything, was the connection to that young man seen there on the curb in handcuffs, like John Trainer just told you about. So, Marie, this day just continues to get more jaw-dropping.
Yeah, difficult to connect the dots. Obviously, still waiting for so much more information to come out, but we do know this.